Okay, we're live here, back in the offices or in the studio, kind of the studio, and I'm talking to Eric today. I met Eric about how many years ago was it?
Man, it's probably like 3 years ago at this point, maybe more.
Probably I think 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Right. My nephew went to school with Eric and two of his friends. And when I met Eric, he said that he was actually, you were a teacher then, right? And,
yeah.
And Brian and Alex, they were sort of investment bankers.
They were investment bankers, but they were management consultants. Right. But the whole idea is that they were business.
They were in business guys. And the three of them wanted to do something called the Mongol Rally, which is this fantastic thing where you drive a beat-up old car from London to Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. Right, and so I said, well, you know, we'll underwrite the cost, but here's the deal: we're going to give you cameras and put you through our boot camp trainings, and you know how to make films at all, right? And
zero idea,
nothing.
In fact, up until a couple weeks ago, I couldn't even use like a DSLR camera. I could only use an iPhone.
We don't like DSLR. Right. Make a difference. Anyway, so we gave them the gear and we taught them how to do it, and we picked up the tab for the trip, and then we sent them off. And it was 11,000 miles you drove, right?
Yeah.
They drove 11,000 miles shooting, and they turned into fantastic filmmakers. So much so that they created essentially a 13 half-hour series for international distribution. And the series was so good that the following year we sent them to drive from New York to Ushuaia at the southern, and that took like a year and a half. Didn't it?
Yeah, that took 13 months.
13 months, and that's also in the process of being made into a 13-part or maybe more television series. So essentially, you went through this whole life transition. You were like a schmuck, and now you're like Mr. Filmmaker.
I might still be a schmuck, but with a much better life.
Right. So, I mean, to explain what happened and how you learned how to do this and what you want to do now.
Yeah. I mean, this thing started, like, totally by luck, you know? We kind of wanted to take a leave from our jobs for, you know, a short period of time. And this Mongol rally trip, it only lasts for, like, 3 months.
Right.
So we could go and then come back and then kind of rejoin life. So when we got hooked up with Michael, I mean, this boot camp was extremely basic to the point where you can figure out a few extremely purposeful skills that you need to make good, high-quality film at a low price. And it's basically Michael's five-shot sequence and some other just like general just rules that you need to follow.
We like that pimping.
Yeah, I mean, it really made the difference. And it's so funny because we always go back to like if we're in a scene and we're thinking how should we film this and everything's kind of happening, no planning, especially when we're going through, you know, these crazy places around the world. And I'm kind of always reminding myself to keep myself grounded by remembering in your book that the carrot chopping shot, right? Like hands, face, over the shoulder, wide, side.
Don't give away too many secrets. People have to pay for that.
Yeah, well, you can buy the book and then you'll learn all the things. But yeah, so it was like a crash course, but it sent us on the road, and we wanted to make it work. Right. So we knew we were on a sweet adventure, and the other thing that we did was we just really didn't ever put the cameras away.
Right.
So we're just filming everything. And with time, obviously, that ratio of quality footage to usable footage, usable to just total, increased. But, you know, over this year and a half, 2 years of just traveling and filming, it became like a real passion.
Well, I mean, I think the interesting thing when we look at your footage, I was blown. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years, but I have to say, when I look at the footage you guys did, I was absolutely blown away at the quality of the intelligence, the sort of filmmaker intelligence that you guys showed in the footage. So, for example, you'd be driving up some windy road somewhere, and you would get off, take the car all the way back, and then have the car drive through the scene. Yeah. I mean, you really understood the essence of how to make a great film, and what you produced was fantastic. I mean, I show it to everybody, and everybody's enormously impressed, and they're astonished that, you know, they go, who was the director, who was the producer, who was the studio? It's nobody. It's just three guys with a passion and some skill set.
Yeah, and we had to go all in, because if we half-assed it, we would end up with half-assed footage and an incomplete story. And you don't ever want to miss exciting moments. And if you start that exciting moment halfway through, you're going to miss whatever led up to it. So you lose the whole story. So it's just like constantly staying on top of it. And, you know, the three of us, we're smart guys. we don't have a film background at all, but we always go 100% in whatever we're doing. And we were on the road having fun, and like we needed a purpose. We needed something to keep us moving. On the first trip, we had the end line, no matter what, the Mongol Rally. It's an established thing that happens every single year. But with the second trip, we really needed a purpose to keep us grounded. And if it weren't for the footage, we'd just have meandered through. We'd probably still be somewhere in Panama right now. So
I think in the first one, you had the elements, as we always say, of great storytelling are arc of story and great characters. You guys turned out to be great characters, and that you just all congealed and you all brought different stuff to the party. But you also had this arc of story in the first one where you had to get from London to Ulaanbaatar, and that was the major arc. And the second one, the arc we set off with originally was leaving New York and getting all the way to South America. But other stuff intervened, which made it in many ways much more interesting. For example, the car you bought in New Jersey was a piece of crap, and you didn't even know that when you bought it.
yeah, it goes to show how much we know about
Right.
about cars, which is zero. Like, I could have looked under the hood and been like, I don't know what is going on under here.
I remember in the first one when Brian opens the hood on the Sentra and he takes it out and he says, I think this is called a dipstick, or was that what they called me in high school?
Yeah, right.
You guys,
Brian's
you know how to
got all
drive
the
a
good
stick
ones
shift.
on
You
this.
didn't know anything.
No.
And then the car you bought in New York to go to South America was destroyed essentially by Sandy. It was just
Yeah.
a piece of rust. Actually.
And you'd think that we like planted that, like to get some drama, some
Right.
crisis in there, but it was just completely like we just screwed up. I mean,
it made fantastic, fantastic story.
It was one of those things where every time the car broke down, we'd be like, kill me. At least it's great footage.
There's one
Make
scene
sure
where
the camera's rolling.
you're on this really narrow mountain road and it's really steep and it's like a big cliff on one side and rocks on the other side, and the car dies and it starts to roll backward and it's the nighttime and it's I mean, if you scripted that in a movie, you go, come on, it doesn't happen to anybody.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But the amazing thing is you kept shooting all the time, no matter how much your life was threatened or how frightened you were, how terrible the situation was, and you kept shooting clean. You didn't move the camera at all. It was a fantastic piece. So these two series are going to go for worldwide distribution, which is great, but in a greater sense, acquiring this knowledge of filmmaking, it really changed the lives for the three of you.
Yeah. It gave us, we acquired a lot of skills in the art of storytelling, and how to, craft these videos, that is just pure entertainment. Having said that, when we got home, we needed to take our skill set to the next level.
Right.
Because being a content creator is great, but it's not a way to be successful in life alone. You need to understand the business side of video production and what goes into it, what audiences want. And so, having removed ourselves from working on these television shows, and now we're kind of on our own, we started to build our own brand and just make our own videos. And there comes another self-taught skill set, or with very basic training, is how to use Final Cut.
Sure.
And it's really not that complicated. The hardest part about it is spending $300 to buy the software. But then after that, like, you just kind of figure it out as
It's
you
very
go.
intuitive, like all Apple things. It's
Extremely.
incredibly intuitive.
So that's kind of been our trajectory over the course of the last 18 months since we got back from.
And now you're really going to
South
turn it into a
America.
business. That's your plan.
Yeah.
I think it's entirely doable. The global television industry is a $1.72 trillion a year business. So there's no reason that you guys, with the skill set that you have and the drive that you have and your intelligence, you can't carve off part of this for yourself. I think that, but as you say, it is a business, and you can't just make videos and stick them up on YouTube and call it a day. So I think now you're ready to take the second step and really make this into something serious.
Yeah. And so what goes into that is, on the one hand, continuing to build up our brand, our page, Nowhere Men, on Facebook. We're Facebook first. And we release very consistently 2 videos every single week, one on Wednesday and one on Monday.
Right.
And that's a lot of work, and it's all passion because nobody's paying us to make that. But we're still doing it with the understanding that this is helping to create the foundation of our brand and our business, so that when we pitch ourselves to clients and people who want video, we can say, well, we've made this and it's gotten, 14 million
Right, you've gotten a
views.
lot of views on some of your videos. haven't
Yeah,
you?
and the last video, in fact, tonight, we're going to meet up with this guy again, the dog father of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. This guy is fucking awesome. and we're going to hang out with him tonight. He's got a fundraiser going on for his animal sanctuary. That video got 7 million views.
It's amazing. I mean, that's certainly proof for any potential client that you know how to make something that the viewers want to see.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. And then Wednesday, next week, 6 o'clock at CUNY, I'm giving a talk on how to make money with your video. You guys should come.
You're
It's a
right.
University. You should come.
Show a little face to these people
No,
that
it's
we're
good,
real.
Good for students also to see what is possible. That's terrific. Great.
Cool.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.